Late to my own party. All right, we are live. I'm Adam. This is Open Late. And tonight we are opening very late the SH Figuarts Lupin the Third figure. Now, this is a figure that was released in 2016, but I only just got it. Lupin the Third is one of those anime that has been around forever. Like I want to say 1976 or 1978. Like it's been around for ages. Um, there's been different versions of Lupin. There's been different audiences for Lupin. There is it's sort of a fascinating story in terms of the character, in terms of the popularity, in terms of the audience. Like, there's so many things, and I'm not going to get into much of that. I will very, very briefly say that Lupin the Third, the very first version of it, the first sort of anime series, was more adult oriented. Obviously out of Japan, it's anime, it was manga. It took a little bit of a turn and became a little less adult oriented. They've sort of opened it up to kids a little bit more. It's wildly popular in Italy. I only found that out fairly recently, like after I ordered this figure, and I'll talk more about this figure and sort of how I got it and why I got it and so on and so forth in a minute. But when I was sort of looking into it, I was like, oh, I was shocked that this was available. And part of the reason that this thing is available is because he's so popular in Italy. There's a whole like Italian version of the theme song, and like it's totally different. Like, it's a totally different character. But for anybody that is not completely familiar with Lupin the Third, Lupin the Third is a Japanese manga and anime. He's like a gentleman thief. He is, I mean, he's a gentleman thief, but he's absolutely like a comical character. So it's just a little bit weird. Wait a minute. What is this? What is this? Oz says, Finn, Finn, Finn. Why are you saying that? Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. That was the name of my cat. What am I missing? Or is that just a totally random coincidence? Anyways, Master Versal Toy Hunter is here. Oscardamus Toys is here. Eternian Ellipse is hanging out. Oz says, this looks epic. I didn't know they had one. I didn't really know that they had one either. This came out in 2016, but it's still available. This is on Amazon right now for like less than I paid for it. I don't know why. Duchess of Darkness is here as well. Eternian Ellipse asks, you excited for the G.I. Joe news tomorrow? I'm excited for the reveals. I've known about them for months, so it's not really that big of like a. It's not like. How do I describe it? It's like I'm like a parent on Christmas morning. I know what the presents are going to be when they get open, but I'm still excited. I'm still excited to see them get opened, to see people get excited. I think they've all been leaked. So it's not a big thing. Oh, that's your emoji. Oh, I forgot that I named it Finn. I genuinely forgot that I named it that. So when I pull up this comment, people are seeing the emoji. Okay. I'm seeing like the description. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Man, I'm the fool now for sure. Oz says Lupin is the Mr. Bean of the anime world. He is 100% the Mr. Bean of the anime world. Like, he is. He's a gentleman thief, but he always seems to like completely stumble into, the adventures that he goes on. Um, and so SH Figuarts has done this. Let's get back on track. Before we do, Quip says Europe with the correct spelling with the P on the end. That is the Canadian spelling, for anybody that's curious. But SH Figuarts has done a few figures in the series, I guess now. So they've done Lupin, they've done Jigen, and they've done Fujiko. I would love to see the inspector. Or they might have done the inspector too. I would love to see the inspector. I would love to see Goemon. But Lupin is sort of one of those characters that is super super iconic. He's not as iconic as like the shonen characters, so he's not as iconic as the Dragon Ball characters, the Naruto characters, something like that. Lupin is probably in the same vein as like a Cowboy Bebop type character. And I think in the last couple of years, with Cowboy Bebop coming back, with One Piece getting a live action, actually Lupin got a Netflix movie recently. I think I haven't watched that one, to be honest, but all that rambling to say that Lupin the Third is as iconic in Japan as probably any anime that you know of, that you've heard of. Now, anybody that's watching this, I think a lot of you guys are probably like aware that he's iconic. But for people that aren't sort of familiar with Lupin, I don't think they quite realize how iconic he is. And like I said, massive in Italy. I didn't know that until recently. So there's a whole sort of, Lupin fandom in Italy, which is keeping the SH Figuarts figures going. Apparently they keep like re-releasing the Lupin figures because Italian collectors that aren't even, SH Figuarts collectors, aren't action figure collectors or whatever, are still buying the Lupin figures, which means that the rest of the world gets to benefit from having these figures come out. Now, will that translate to sort of seeing a couple of those other characters? I don't know. I just got this guy. I ordered this from Japan, and a Japanese friend of mine picked it up for me when he was there and brought it over. And I've been sitting on it for a while, but I'm very very excited to have it in front of me now, to be able to open it and sort of play with it. Right? I mean, I buy toys. I'm not a collector. I say that all the time. So I'm looking at this box thinking like I really want to get it out of the box. So let's do that. First, we are going to look at the package. So this is definitely an older SH Figuarts box. There's a lot more box than there is window here. But the box that we do get is pretty fun. We get this sort of silhouette Lupin Third, or as the Japanese say, Rupan Sansei. I learned about Lupin the Third through learning about Japanese and Japanese culture and stuff like that. So again, this was just like Dragon Ball, one of those things where I watched it in Japanese first and absolutely loved it. Fell in love with the characters, fell in love with the animation, all that kind of stuff. And so getting packaging that kind of reflects, at least to me, the sort of vibe of Lupin, is pretty cool. But like I said, 2016, you can see sort of right down there in the bottom. This thing is old, so I'm actually kind of curious to see what this figure is like compared to like modern stuff in terms of like the articulation that we're gonna get, and so on and so forth. But there you go. So there's Lupin in the window box. There's that cool silhouette. Lupin the Third, the English title. You get the very Japanese sort of, and that's the one that I remember. That's the one that I know. The very stylized Rupan Sansei down at the bottom there. And I still think that logo looks much much better. So one really cool thing about this, so with Lupin the Third, now this is just like an observation. This isn't like, you're not learning anything here. But three, in Japanese kanji is 3 lines horizontally. But the third, the way that we sort of do it in Romanized characters is like 3 eyes. Sorry, 3 in Japanese is vertically, 3 vertically. The third is like 3 horizontally. So it's just sort of turned sideways. So you get Sansei, which is like the third, which looks like a stylized version of the way that we write it. So to me, like, that's just like, some of that stuff is just so cool. I nerd out on the weirdest stuff, and that is one of those things. So there you go. Lupin the Third, Lupin Sansei. Anyways, on the side we get the silhouette and then Lupin the Third. On the back we get a call out to some of the details, and we get a butt shot. I don't know why we get that one, but it's all good. We get some of his accessories. He's got his pistol there. He's got his little sort of wire shooting watch thing there. Some facial expressions that we're going to get in the package. We get the legalese, I presume, on the bottom. I've never tried to translate that, or I don't care. We get, probably pretty similar stuff on the bottom there. So, and then on the other side, we get pretty much the same thing. Let's get this guy out of the box. Enough is enough. Now, I hope I cut enough tape. Yeah, I did. There's only one piece. The Japanese are so trusting that they only put one piece of tape on there. There he is in the card, and with this guy, just like every other SH Figuarts. Oh, it's an older one. I forgot that it was an older one, so I got to cut the tape. There's more tape on the inside than the outside. So instead of like the sort of pop-off clam shell type thing, it's like 2 pieces. They're all 2 pieces, but... Oh, it's already fallen out. I wanted to like this. It's not going to stay, is it? Nope, it's not going to stay. Anyways, there's the wire. And then there's the loadout that you get in the package. So all the face sculpts at the top. Oh, wait a minute. Was there supposed to be something there? I hope there wasn't supposed to be something there. Well, I'll find out later. I'm not going to bother looking now. But you get some faces, you get extra hands, you get his watches, you get his pistol, and you get the figure. I mean, really, to me, this is about the figure. I don't really need the pistol. Some of the accessories are like cool to get, but they're not really essential to me. To me, the essential is this guy, and maybe 1 or 2 of the faces, but the accessories, generally speaking, aren't really the draw for me. It's having Lupin in the collection on the shelf. All right, well, let me get a quick look at the figure first. I will very quickly. He's got. I've shown these before, but the SH Figuarts figures come with these little sort of plastic inserts. Can you see that? There's like a little plastic insert to keep the paint from rubbing. There's one on his neck. I'm just going to pop this off. That's just way quicker and easier. And one on his waist. Oh, wow. These older figures, it's like a little skirt. He's got like a little plastic skirt on. So they've definitely refined this. So on the newer stuff, this has a little pull tab, and you could just like pull it off. This had to like slide off. The one on his neck had a hole in it, but it definitely did wasn't a slit. It didn't open. I had to pull the head off. I wouldn't have gotten it off if I hadn't popped that head off. So let's see. Whoops. Oz says, I always spelled it. I always spelled it. Europe must have learned from a Canadian. Now I want this whole line. Yep, I want this whole line too. Quip said, I definitely learned of Lupin from Adult Swim. I didn't even know he was on Adult Swim. That's interesting to me. I uh, I know that there was some anime stuff on Toonami, and for us up here in Canada, we got it on YTV a little bit, late at night or something like that. Like they would just sort of throw it in there. But Adult Swim, I did not know. Not Adult Swim, might have been Toonami. Well, whatever it was. I mean, the fact that he was on, like, I definitely did not get it that way. I got it through, Japanese friends of mine, and um people just being like, "Oh, you got to check this out. If you like this, you should check this out," kind of thing. Um and I did check it out, and I love it. I mean, Lupin is awesome, and I think there's about 4 or 5 series. There's a whole bunch of movies. He is so bright. Hold on, I gotta turn some of these lights down, because otherwise he's gonna glare. Like, it's very he's very pale. He's very pale. Um, so the bright lights just completely wash him out. Anyways, the figure itself, there he is out of the box. The articulation is pretty old. I mean, he looks down really well, which is great. He's going to be able to look up really well, which is good as well. Um, the arms, so because he has a suit jacket on, the articulation is gonna suffer. I know that without sort of getting too far into it. The arms don't go up super far, or do they? Yeah, they do actually. You can get that to go up pretty far. It breaks up the sculpt a little bit, but I'm okay with that. The sculpt when the arm is down looks fantastic. So when you sort of consider, here, I'm going to do, that's actually really, really clever. When you consider that I can get about 90 degrees from a shoulder that looks like that, when, it's in the right position, that's pretty remarkable. So what I noticed as I sort of was moving this shoulder is that you can, as you sort of push the arm up, the shoulder joint kind of pops down ever so slightly so that it fits in there a little bit better. Now, there is technically a butterfly joint there. But again, like, to get the full articulation, you have to break the sculpt, which is not that bad. I mean, that's still pretty good. And you can kind of, the more you mess around with these SH Figuarts, the more you figure out how to sort of maintain some of the sculpt. Let me drop that comment there. And like, the sculpting on, the static poses is fantastic. As I said, that arm as a suit is like bang on for Lupin. Where this guy's going to suffer a little bit is stuff like the elbow joint. So you get a good range of articulation in that elbow joint, but you're going to get it at the expense of the sculpt there just a little bit, because that elbow sculpt isn't great. It's you can see the joint, you can see that it's sort of a ball joint there, which is fine. I'm okay with that. You get a torso articulation, you get the ab crunch, as well as the articulation at the waist. And he can spin at the ab, and he can spin at the waist. The legs, again, you've got sculpted legs, so you're not going to get crazy articulation. But for Lupin, I mean, that's about all you need. You don't need him to get into like ninja poses. The leg, it goes that far, but it's not too crazy. The boots rotate at the boot. So it's not like it's not sort of an ankle rocker. The rocker is sort of built in inside the boot. But that'll pivot and give you plenty of rocker. You got toe articulation as well. So all in all, for what oh, he's got a drop down. He's got a drop down in the hip as well. Actually, so you could probably get a better. Is that more than I got the first time? So if you want to have this guy posed, with the sculpt fully intact, you can definitely do that. But if you want to get this guy posed up, he's gonna pose up pretty well, I would say. I mean, relative to anything from Hasbro or DC or anything like that, he's gonna pose up really well. I'm actually quite surprised with how well I think this guy's gonna pose up. But like I said, this is one of those things where I'm just really excited to get this character on my shelf. He's one of my favorites. This sort of falls into the category of like the Super 7, the Super 7 Robin Hood, in the sense that I just really wanted this character in my collection. I'm not that worried about how well he poses up and how good the articulation is or anything like that. So let's take a look at the accessories. We get a bunch of alternate head sculpts, and interestingly enough, they all come with the ball joint attached. I don't think I've ever seen that before. SH typically does like the face swaps where you can kind of take the head apart. But anyway, he comes with this sort of smirk on the figure in the package, and then we get the big grin. We get the wink. And last but not least, we get the laughing face, which is, I mean, all of these faces are so perfect for the character. I think I could be wrong, and this is in Canada, so I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure on Netflix in Canada you can watch at least the Castle of Count Cagliostro, and if you just watch that, that'll give you a very good idea of sort of the character of Lupin. Well worth the watch. That was sort of one of the first things that I saw from Lupin. We get the pistol. We get a couple of watches. I don't know what the difference is, just at sort of first glance. They're slightly different, but I don't. Oh, okay. So they're basically the same watch. Am I going to be able to show this? They're the same watch. One of them has a hole in it, and that hole, this can plug into that hole. Now, let me. This thing is so small, and okay, there we go. So, as I said, one of the watches is the watch that shoots this little thing out. So that's like the tiniest little accessory. So you get a little watch that shoots the little sort of wire grappling hook, kind of whatever. That's one of the funniest little accessories I've ever seen, and this is a wire. So it is it's bendy, which makes it really fun, actually. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this accessory, but it's fun that it exists, and it's I'm never gonna get it straight again. I guess there's probably a way to get that straight. You could see it. I mean, and it's just a wire. Like, I don't even know that it's painted. I think it's just sort of a silver wire. But very, very cool. I like that accessory a lot. That's a lot of fun. And then because it's SH Figuarts, we get a whole bunch of hands. So we get the pistol gripping hand. So I'll put that one right there. And then we get some, karate hands. I'm going to just call them karate hands. We get these are like straight out of like a Dragon Ball figure for sure. We get sort of the gripping hands. We get the open hands. So these are just, fun, expressive hands. And then we get this hand. I don't know what. Maybe it's just another. No, it's not. I'm trying to figure out what these hands are. That's the pistol hand. I don't know what this one is. Anybody know? Like, this is a partially closed fist, three fingers closed, and then one sort of open. Does he hold? Maybe he holds the watch with that hand or something. I don't know. Anyways, that's the loadout. That's the accessories that come with this thing. They're fun, man. Like it's just a bunch of fun accessories for a fun toy for a fun character. The pistol doesn't fit especially well into this hand, but it is what it is. That's what we got. That's what we get. Missed it by that much, hand. Good shout. Good call. Missed it by that much, hand. Yeah. Good stuff. Great stuff. Great figure. It's just going to be a lot of fun to play with. It's sort of what it comes down to, and I'm excited. Now, like I said, the ball joint like popped out of this head. So I wonder if the other ones are going to be like that too. Because I think for the sake of just having them on the shelf, I think I might use this face just as my default not sort of in any sort of action pose or anything like that. I think that's the face for me personally, but and a little bit more of like a fun pose, obviously, because that's so there we go. Oz says, love that sculpt. Yeah, it's just a really fun toy. I'm just very quickly gonna adjust this. Bear with me. This is the worst part. Just to tighten up the shot. There it is. Yeah, so that's Lupin the Third, Lupin Sensei. Well, Lupin Sensei. Knowing that I was doing this video tonight, I was just singing the song as I was sort of like walking around my house, and my family was like, "What are you saying? Why do you keep doing that?" I'm not gonna sing it for you guys right now. You're welcome. Maybe another time. But anyway, there is the figure. That's all I had for tonight, was just Lupin Sensei. But the only reason that I'm doing a very short video tonight is because I got to record more stuff. I got more stuff to unbox. I have some fun stuff that I need to unbox, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So I am going to record that stuff tonight and sort of post it in the next couple of weeks. Now, that being said, I can hang out a little bit longer, but I'm going to end the video. Sort of. I'm going to end it. If you're hanging out, stick around, and we can chat a little bit longer. But for now, as far as anybody is concerned in the replay, the video is done. been an absolute pleasure. It's always fun hanging out with you guys, both in the live chat as well as the replay crew. I enjoy opening toys, but it's always more fun doing it with friends. So thank you guys for joining me. Until next time, bye-bye.